to the Recovery Daily podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Abasi. I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic and stroke survivor. And guess what? I found my microphone cord. So let's see if it was all worth it and the sound actually sounds better. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I will listen back and see what the difference is. But anyway, I was just excited to find the microphone cord. And truth be told, I did not know what I was looking for. So I crossed paths with my husband last night and I was like, can I get that microphone, an extra microphone cord whenever you have a chance? Because he's a musician and has all of the equipment. And so he was like, can I take a look at your microphone? So yeah, I showed him the microphone and I showed him the hookup on my computer. And he was like, you need a USB-C and a such and such a Meduji. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that's what I needed. So I went back into my big cord bin. I think we all have a cord bin. And I went back into my cord bin and there it was. It was there all along. Wouldn't you know it? So, what I wanted to talk about today is kind of I don't know, kind of a poopy topic, but I think it's important. I wanted to talk about the life and death reality of um, alcoholism, but I wanted to also talk about the life and death reality that is grief and how the two play together. My experience processing grief in sobriety versus prior to quitting drinking. And what spurred this is a share today from a friend in sobriety who is grieving the loss of a friend who passed away from our disease at the age of 42 with two young children. And she had been friends with this guy for years and years and years, and um, her and her husband were friends with him and his wife, and there were several couples, and they all hung out together. They did everything together, and he passed away from the disease of alcoholism. And she was talking about how today is his birthday and how all of the guys that were going to that typically hung out on their birthdays, they're all going golfing, and the women would typically go out and get all dressed up and hoity-toity and hang out and drink together. And so I was inspired to share about my experience because it's terrible, right? It's terrible to grieve the loss of someone, no matter what they passed away from. You know, I have a really difficult time with death, and I've shared about that many times before on this podcast. And I can't say that I have um, come to any resolution within me about how to handle it better. But what I do know for sure is that the process of grieving, that's what it's supposed to be. It's a process, happens when I'm not drinking, and it doesn't happen when I'm drinking. So to fully feel the sadness, I can be drunk, sober, it doesn't matter. But in sobriety, I'm able to gain access to gratitude. I mean, that's jumping ahead a little bit. So I want to back up a little bit. But I have tools in sobriety that help me not feel like I've lost control, um, that change the mourning into grieving. I feel like, I'm a very visual person. Um, Mourning to me is when we wear all black for as long as we are missing somebody. I don't know. I mean, this is my own constructed vision of what mourning is. It's like I'm not going to live until I'm past that stage. And the display of that is that I'm going to wear all black. I'm not going to smile, and I'm not going to move forward in my life. That's what mourning is for me. Grieving is different to me. Grieving is a process of healing. I feel like mourning is a place that I go and I stay. Grieving is putting on my walking shoes and going through a doorway that leads to a deeper awareness of myself, my connection to that person, and my desired understanding or concept of death and life. And I believe that I get to choose which of those I'm going to do when I lose somebody. And it's hard for me to decipher between the two because they both feel like I'm in the shadows of loss. And neither of them, like, I can't see the light at the end of the tunnel if I choose to grieve or I choose to mourn the other way, to mourn. I don't see that grieving, this is how you do it. This is where the light is if I start processing it. Um, it's it's something that's happening inside of me on its own sometimes. That's what it feels like. It's like I wake up um and I feel the pain, and the little decisions that I make despite the pain are leading me down the path of grieving or leaving me in a space of mourning, leaving me in the shadows rather than trying to find my way out. Um, so the illusion of mourning as if I'm processing something was more apparent when I was drinking. When I was in active alcoholism and I lost people like my grandparents, or long ago losing a friend that I never mourned. I mean, I never grieved. I didn't know. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have help. I didn't know what to do. And so I cried because I thought that was all I felt pain. And I thought that the tears and the pain were grieving. I thought that I was processing. And I thought that I was unique in that my pain was so deep that, and the suffering was so long that um, I was just destined to not move on. I was destined to live in that state forever, for the rest of my life. And what it did was molded my perception of life and death and how I'm supposed to move on. I didn't think that I was capable of moving on, that when people died, they took a part of me with them that I was never going to get back. And since I've gotten sober, my my perspective on that has changed to rather than they are taking a part of me that I'm never going to get back, is I'm taking a part of them that I get to keep. I don't have to give it back. That's what I get from the relationship that I had. And when I was drinking and crying, um, I was delaying my healing. And I delayed my healing for years and years and years. It's a very, very difficult topic for me to talk about. Um, I was crying for what I lost without the willingness to let it go. I didn't believe that. It didn't make sense to me that when people died, and it still doesn't make sense necessarily, but I'm learning how to live with that lack of understanding, I guess. Um, I didn't understand, don't understand how life goes on when we lose somebody important. For example, my aunt passed away from ALS, and I think about her almost every day. And she was my mom's best friend. And I don't, I want to understand where she went. I want to understand what we do with that energy that they've left behind for us, what I do with the love that's left over. Because when somebody's alive, I know what to do with the love. I give it, right? I give it to the person that I feel it for. But when they're gone, what do I do with it? Um, and those who figure that out, those who figure out what to do with the love that they feel once somebody's gone, is that's the right way to grieve. If there's something that we can do, some kind of action that we take, because I'm all about the action, and I've never been quite sure what action to take. Um, so I just stayed stuck in the pain, and I let the alcohol um, really handicap me. It handicapped my emotions, my mental capacity to process anything. I just sat in it, and I didn't know how to release it. I think that I've always felt that pain is something that I'm supposed to like make a decision and let it go. But I don't think that's the way that it works. I think that pain, every pain, all of it, I feel that it's something that slowly seeps out like a balloon, like a helium balloon. Um, that the pain just slowly seeps out, and it's like before we even know it, um, I've reached another stage of healing. and I didn't even know it happened. Like, I didn't feel the pain escape, but slowly with time, I start feeling liberated from it. Um, Sobriety has not eliminated the grief. Sobriety has actually made loss feel completely different. Um, I have felt, what's the word? Devastated from loss in sobriety. And I was afraid to cry. It's quite different. When I was drinking, I would cry so hard that I was like on the floor, just feeling like what felt like that raw pain. And just, I remember crying so hard that I just could not breathe. It was, I wanted to give everything I had to the person that was gone. It's like I was trying to give them my breath to bring them back. I thought that if I squeezed hard enough, I could bring them back, and I couldn't. And in sobriety, I have cried like that. But when I did it, I was running. I found that what that was, what I felt so, what I was squeezing was this energy inside of me that needed to come out. And I thought that the harder I cried and the tighter I squeezed it, that it would go away. And it wouldn't. I couldn't just cry it away. What I've had to do is expend the energy, take action, like physically. I've had to physically work it away. I've had to talk it away, move it away, share it away. Um, that's the processing. It's it's allowed me to, during the process of grief, feel the pain, but start releasing it slowly. And what seeps in during the process is gratitude for the relationship that I had for that person that I lost. Somehow it happens. I have no idea. But there is this thread of gratitude that starts to build up inside of me, even in the most difficult times of grieving. I can see that I have a gift. When I lose somebody to the disease of alcoholism, I am immediately, and albeit maybe selfishly, I can't help it, grateful that I am still here. Grateful that I was given the gift of recovery. And when I respond to grief that way, it makes the grief easier for me. The gratitude honors what was lost instead of resenting the universe that it's gone. It transforms my pain into promise, I guess, that I get to carry my memories forward. that love was not wasted. And when I lose somebody, the reality is that I need to choose life again. When I feel loss that deeply, I need to make a decision for myself to choose life through the grief. And when I was listening to this woman this morning talk about how today was going to be really difficult, what I tried to share this morning was to find gratitude that you are able to feel the grieving process the way that that person deserves for you to feel it. That each wave of pain that is felt is really an invitation to continue to awaken and live an even more willing and open life of gratitude. Gratitude and faith have kept me alive. And I mean that in every sense of the word. Physically, if I didn't have faith, I physically would not have made it. I would have drank again and I would have died from drinking. I couldn't be more certain of that. I couldn't be more certain that I would be gone. And over, as I face difficult times, gratitude and faith continues to save me. Emotionally, I would crumble. I have crumbled. I've been crumbling and have somehow grabbed a hold of the faith and the gratitude that my sobriety program introduced to me. And it makes me feel connected to something greater so that I don't feel like I'm standing back up on my feet by myself. I don't feel like I have to do it alone. Sobriety gives me the capacity to live through grief. And it allows me to face the pain and turn it into purpose. I mentioned a while back that I lost a sorority sister. I don't know if it was from drinking or not. I don't know. All I know is that she had liver failure, and that's why she passed away. Um, all I can do is assume. But when I lost her, I was really good friends with her. And over the years, I lost touch with her because she was in my sorority. She went to college with me. We were in the Panhellenic Council together, which meant that during rush season, we had to not identify with our sorority. So the only people we could identify with are the other people in the Panhellenic Council. And so her and I attached ourselves to each other at the hip. And so when I found out that she was gone this past year, um, I I didn't know what to do, but I knew I needed to do something. And I was talking to my psychiatrist today about this. I told her what I did was I joined the alumni um, group for my sorority. And I've been engaged with them in the book club. There's an upcoming virtual craft night for my sorority alumni, and I do that. And the sole reason that I'm doing it is because it allows me to feel closer to her. That piece of her that I get to keep and I don't have to give it back. I get to bring it with me to everything that I do that is engaging with the sorority. And she's right there with me. I feel it. I feel her memory with me. I feel her smile with me and her laugh with me. And when she used to dance to 311, all of that is with me when I enjoy these different things through my sorority. And so that's what I mean by action, being able to take a sober breath through grief allows me to live and live better, to love and to love better. Living sober gives me a chance to live despite pain and live joyfully and freely despite pain. That's what I've got for you today. That was really, really difficult for me to get out without crying, but I did it. And it felt good to talk about it. So thanks so much for listening, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.